know you had to introduce yourself. So once I get started, I'll just go to you, go around the table, and then we'll just get going with other questions. Okay. So you guys go over there. Okay. And we are back here at the JKR Podcast. We got Josh Pyne, Carter Mathison, and Brock Tibbitts on the show. For one question I always ask everybody as soon as they come on the show is, for those who don't know you, how would you introduce yourself? So Josh, we'll start with you, and then we'll just go around the table.
I'm Josh Pyne. I'm a freshman here at Indiana University. I'm from Linton, Indiana.
Okay.
I'm Carter Mathison. I'm a freshman here, and I'm studying business management from Fort Wayne.
My name is Brock Tibbitts. I'm also a freshman here, studying sports management from New Albany, Ohio.
All right. So let's dig into last night's game. Obviously, great win against Indiana State. Carter, it was your second game not starting this season. You got to come off the bench, hit a pinch hit, 3-run homer to tie the game in the ninth. So let's dig into your plate approach there. What was different being a pinch hitter coming in, possibility to tie the game, compared to when you're a starter and you get those multiple at-bats a game?
Yeah, well, there's 2 outs, so didn't want to be super aggressive too early. I wanted to get the pitcher deep in the count, and I ended up doing that. I got it to 3-2, and then my mind was just set that I just was not going to lose that battle. Whatever I had to do to put the ball in play, I was going to do.
All right. So obviously great win. So that's great to see. Head into Rutgers this week. But your guys' freshman year is almost a couple of weeks left in the freshman year. More than halfway through your freshman season here for IU baseball. So let's just dig into your freshman year so far. What are some things you guys enjoyed? Just some things that you'd like to see this first year in Bloomington.
I mean, I think the people for me it's been awesome, especially the team. Like, I think we've all gotten along pretty well. Just being able to come in our freshman year and have a great group of guys to be able to gel with and to be able to adapt to the environment like that.
Yeah.
Those guys.
So what's dorm life been for each of you guys? Who are your guys' roommates? Where are you guys staying? How's that been?
Dorms are terrible.
Were you guys staying in Briscoe or
Briscoe?
And that's still bad?
Yeah.
See, I always heard Briscoe was great.
It's nice for a dorm, but I just don't like being cooped up.
Of course. Are you guys planning on staying somewhere else next year then?
Yeah.
You guys gonna be roommates? Who you guys planning on rooming with next year?
Me and him are roommates with Luke and Max next year.
Okay.
Then I'll be rooming with Hunter, Bobby, and Ethan.
Okay. So with your first year here in Bloomington, what are some of your guys' favorite things you've been able to just experience? Like maybe your favorite restaurants, favorite things to do besides going to the bar and playing baseball?
I think for me, the basketball games were a lot of fun. Being from Columbus, it was always college football was the big thing. So then to see the college basketball environment here was really cool to see that type of environment.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing is, along with the basketball games and sporting events, is just the nightlife and being able to get out and have some fun and especially with the team and going out. There's always something to do, go out to eat, and then just hang out afterwards.
It's always fun meeting new people. I hear a lot of different people from different places, and then tailgates and football games are also a blast.
So did you guys have multiple kids from your guys' high schools come here? Or did you guys come here basically knowing nobody besides some of the guys on the baseball team?
Well, I went to high school with a kid, but he's like probably one of the only people that I went to school with that's here. I can think of a few, but I'm not close with them.
Yeah. So if you guys just looking back on your freshman year, probably what are some of your favorite stories, maybe baseball season, maybe before the season started, that just hit your mind when you're thinking of your freshman year here at IU?
You got it.
I think the main thing that comes to my mind is us being here over the summer, all the freshmen, and I just think of all of us getting to know each other. It was only about 6 weeks that we were here, but just getting to know each other. Because I think maybe you guys knew each other a little bit. Nobody really knew each other that much, but just getting to know each other at the beginning of the summer before we got here in the fall with the entire team.
Yeah.
I think just thinking about that time over the summer was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree. There's not a lot of schools do that. Send their freshmen to school during the summer, to get classes out of the way and just bond. But that's something that I think really helped our freshman group, coming in and being able to have some fun together, get our work in. We even played a little bit, drove up to Indy and played a little bit, but we were always right down the hall from each other, and we became good friends real fast. So that was something that I really, really enjoyed as well.
I'd say the fall was really fun getting, besides the summer, obviously the freshmen got a good chance to meet each other, but the fall, kind of the whole team bonded really well. So that was a blast.
So when did you guys move in this summer? You said 6 weeks, so when was that?
Middle of June.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys were taking classes during those 6
Yeah.
weeks?
Yeah, we had like
It was
6 courses.
2 online classes. I think,
Okay,
everybody.
so just get a couple credits out of the way, just
Yeah.
get in the routine.
Yep.
Easy stuff.
So what were those days like, just going to the field? Like, what was your usually daily routine?
It was
a lot of free time.
Yeah, I mean, it would be
There's a lot of free time.
It'd be, we lifted what, like 4 or 5 days a week in the summer,
Yeah.
so it'd be like 9 a.m. lift, and then it would just be our day for the rest of the day. So we would go and we'd hit, we'd field, we would flip VP on the field, and, you know, just have some fun. Me and him went to Dick's and bought some cornhole bags, and we'd go to the field and play cornhole and watch the national championship and everything. So I mean, we just found stuff to do, and you know, it was a blast.
Got to get familiar with Bloomington
Yeah,
before all
of course.
all the madness happened.
Yeah.
So did you guys come to Bloomington before on visits, obviously, before you guys started here your freshman year?
I did not, just because my recruiting process started so late. I didn't, like, COVID was going on when
Okay.
I was getting recruited, so I didn't have the chance to actually
Yeah.
really come here before
So,
I committed here.
so your first time on campus was in June.
Yeah.
Before, like, so you were starting
Yeah.
classes the day that you actually found out what
Yeah.
Bloomington was like.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind there? You're thinking, man, I'm going to a school
Yeah.
that I don't even know what the town's like. Don't even know what the campus is like.
It was, I mean, it was obviously a shock right away, like, just because of how different it was, like, coming here and just having to get used to everything, like, so quickly. But then having people here, like Josh, who knew the campus, Luke knew around places, guys had been here before. So just having those guys there to be able to kind of help out a little bit and
Yeah.
just get used to the.
Yeah. So for you guys, obviously you've been here on visits before. What were those visits like? Did you guys go to football games, basketball games before coming here?
Yeah, I went to the Ohio State football game for my visit, and then a couple weeks later went to Hoosier Hysteria, and so that was, I mean, it was a blast.
Yeah.
Those were 2 really, really great visits that I had.
Yeah. So that was what, 2019 probably for the Hoosier Hysteria?
I think it was 2018.
18.
It was early.
So that was what, your freshman year?
Yeah, I committed
Okay.
my freshman year. It was early. It may have been even earlier than that, actually.
Okay, so let's dig into you guys' recruiting processes a little bit. Obviously, the IU baseball recruiting class this year is legit, a good, really great class.
Yeah.
So let's dig in to see how that started. So for each of you guys, when did D1's team start reaching out? When did that recruiting process start for each of you guys?
You started through the earliest.
I think it started for me like late 8th grade, like as I was going into my freshman year. And then I kind of jumped the boat quick because I'm from here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm from 25 minutes away, so I would come to the mall here if I needed something. So I'm in Bloomington all the time, and Bloomington was IU was one of the first couple schools that reached out, and, you know, I wanted to go here. This is where I always wanted to go, and so I came on those visits, and I kind of explored a few other options, but, you know, I jumped the boat pretty fast, and so I committed pretty early.
Okay.
Mine started about end of my freshman year into the beginning of my sophomore year, and then I started to pick up during my sophomore year, and started with like a few smaller schools, smaller D1. And for me, honestly, I had always wanted to go south. I don't like the cold
Yeah.
and all this, but so I was set on the south, but IU reached out, and IU obviously was always a school at the top of my list, and everything just was perfect and it
Yeah.
all matched up.
Yeah. Well, being from Fort Wayne, you get to play in that cold weather pretty
Yeah.
much the whole travel. I mean, all you guys get to play in that cold weather the whole season. So, what about your recruiting process?
Mine started relatively late, well, later compared to everyone else, but I really didn't start until the summer going into my senior year was when basically my entire recruiting process happened. Same thing with Carter, just kind of started with some smaller like D2 schools and then smaller D1 schools, and again, similar to Carter, I wanted to go south because I'm not a fan of the weather in the Midwest, but because COVID was going on, coaches weren't able to get out, and it just wasn't kind of really realistic to go south. And then Indiana reached out and loved all the coaches and found a great fit here. So.
Yeah. So besides Indiana, what were some of those other schools that reached out? What were some of those initial conversations like? And then overall, what put IU on top for each of you guys?
Well, for me, I had like Xavier, Purdue, Dayton. Those were pretty much the main ones on top of Bloomington or IU. But it was just, since I was so young, it was just really trying to get to know me, trying to just saying, hey, like, you want to come on campus, we want to show you around. And And then, like I said, as soon as IU called and got that started, it was pretty quick for me. Like I said, I mean, I wanted to go here, and so I came here as soon as I could and went to the football game and then went to Hoosier Hysteria, and I fell in love with the atmosphere. I mean, it was electric. It was awesome. And so, yeah, that's what it was like for me.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I had a good amount of smaller D1 schools like Wright State, Xavier, schools like that. Purdue was also on to me, but IU kind of just, it was a place for me. The coaches here are amazing, so I just fell in love with IU.
Yeah.
I talked to schools like Marshall, Kentucky a little bit, Penn State a little bit, and then obviously IU. And it was really just the relationships I built with the coaches that really set IU on top.
Yeah. So for you, Josh, was Lamonis the coach that initially started recruiting you?
Yeah, I committed whenever Lamonis was the coach here.
Okay, so when you initially got in contact with Mercer after the whole coaching change, what was your first conversation with Mercer like?
I actually was at the travel ball tournament, and I remember my coach, because he couldn't call, or I couldn't call him. He could call me, but he wanted my number. So my coach was like, "Hey, you got a new coach. He wants to call you." So I sat down and talked to him for a good while, and it was just, I mean, it clicked immediately. It was like a guy that I've never talked to before. He's really honest and truthful, and I appreciate that. I mean, he'll tell you when you're doing something wrong. And he wants the best out of everybody, and so I could see that over the phone, and I could hear it, and so I just fell in love with the way that he coaches, like right then and there.
Yeah. So throughout that process, when did you guys connect with each other, and what were those some of like initial meeting stories like? What'd you guys think?
I know after I committed, everybody that committed after I would reach out, be like congrats and whatnot, but I'd say first time we all really got in contact was probably right before summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of COVID going on, like as we had like our signing day and everything, we couldn't do an official visit, so we didn't have that visit to be able to actually like connect with each other and get on campus together. So it really was the summer.
Yeah.
Well,
The travel ball,
that's
we
one
wanted
thing
each other to travel ball.
Yeah.
That's one thing that our class did miss out on, is we never had an official visit. So I mean, I would always text Coach Mercer and be like, "Hey, are we gonna have an official visit?" And it just, they wouldn't allow it to happen. I really wanted it to. I wanted those pictures before we got on campus.
Yeah. I mean, those pictures are going everywhere. I mean, Ryersdorf, some of these other guys that are coming in this upcoming year, see those posted everywhere.
Yep.
So, I mean, those are some cool pictures to take when you're a senior in high school.
They are, exactly.
So, I mean,
Brag to everybody.
yeah, of course. So let's move into your freshman year a little bit more. So how are classes going? You guys are studying what? And then how have classes been compared to what you were expecting for the actual college experience just in the classroom?
They're going pretty well. I'm majoring in management, kind of like the policy side of management. And it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I've heard some people say college is harder, but I've heard some people say college is easier than high school. And so I really found like if you apply yourself, it's not any harder than high school. It's just, it's the same kind of work. You just have to try, you have to apply yourself. So, the lectures are a little bit longer, and that's something that kind of hard to stay awake during sometimes. But no, it's not too bad, and I think it took a little bit of time to adjust to it, but that's why I appreciated the summer so much, because they kind of got us accustomed to taking these college courses. But yeah, it's not been too bad.
Yeah, my classes they're a lot. I got a big workload. They're pretty tough, but difference I've seen between college classes and high school is they're a lot more laid back, and it's kind of just, here's your stuff, do what you want. If you put the work in, you're gonna do well. And it's up to you pretty much.
Yeah.
You study on your own.
Yeah.
I'm a sports management marketing major, and so far the classes I've been taking, I don't think have been really too bad, just because a lot of them have been sports related. So, and since my whole life's been around sports, it's been just kind of what I've always been around. So, it hasn't been too bad.
Yeah, we'll get used to that. I'm 2 years into the sports management program, and I don't think I've had to study once. So I don't know how you're feeling, Card. I got a roommate who's in Kelly, and he's always on the computer, always reading textbooks. He's always doing something. Just like, man, I'm glad I'm not in Kelly.
Always got one.
So, yeah. So if you guys have any advice for the incoming freshmen next year, what would it be, just class-wise?
Do the work.
I worked on it.
Don't
Do the
procrastinate
work.
it.
Okay.
Don't procrastinate it because you'll catch yourself on a road trip and you forgot to do an assignment and it's due in an hour. And so just get it done while you're thinking about it.
It won't take long until you're spending 12 hours on a Sunday getting that assignment.
Yeah. So you guys bring your laptops and your schoolwork with you guys on travel?
Yeah.
Okay. So what, after games, sometimes you guys are just in the hotel room just studying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll push through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So going into this year's season, January, February, before the season started, what was your guys' mindset? Obviously, the positions, like you guys didn't know where you guys were going to be at. What was your guys' mindset heading into those first couple practices up until that first game when you guys realized, hey, I'm going to be starting this year? So what was your guys' mindset heading into the season?
For me, it was kind of like I wasn't sure if I was even going to be playing, and so it was kind of like I don't want anyone to take the spot from me. Like I want to do everything that I can to get that spot, and so it was just kind of like I put my head down and just did everything in my power to make sure that I was on the field, and so I could help the team win. And so, it was a grind, but that's kind of what I was thinking about going into the season, especially for the first couple months after winter break, was I need to get this spot. And so, it's a competition within the team, and that's what makes teams really, really good, is that they have competition at every position. You have to get better to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, nothing's guaranteed, so I just put my head down and what I've always done to secure that spot. Going into the season, as a freshman, a lot of people say like you're nervous for the first game, but to be honest, I was more than excited. Just going in, just ready to start my college career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it was just kind of doing whatever it took to be able to get into that position. And then for me, because I'm a primary catcher and moving to first base, took some reps at first base, took some reps at actually third base too, took some reps in the outfield. So it's just kind of keep doing whatever I could do to put myself in the best position to help the team win.
Yeah. So have you played first base in travel ball or high school at all? Or was
I have not, no.
They're like, hey, we're gonna get you some reps there, see how you do.
Yeah.
So what's going through your mind when that's going on? You're thinking, oh, these are my first couple times playing at first base. How are you powering through to?
First base, I kind of take a lot of what I learned from catching into first base actually, because a lot of it's just kind of catching the ball first when my foot's on the bag, and then ground ball wise, you can play a lot deeper than other positions. Like Josh has to play a lot closer to the batter, so the balls come off a little hotter. And for me, I have more time to react and just kind of get in with catching, just try to keep the ball in front of me and make it work.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good position players that are returning off of last year's team. So who are some guys that kind of took you three and even some other freshmen kind of underneath their wings and showed them the ropes of playing college baseball?
Well, I would say the main three that I can really think about are Bobby, Phil, and Matthew Ellis. And so those three kind of beat it in our head that it's hard. Like it really is hard to play. Phil, I think, is the only one out of those three that played his freshman year. And Ellis ended up going to JUCO, and Bobby came here, and so they were just like, man, it's hard. Like it really is tough. You got to put in the work. You got to do everything that you can. And so those three helped me realize what it was going to be like stepping on the field that day one at Clemson.
Yeah.
For me, I would say Bobby, Hunter, and Logan. Just all of them being in the outfield with me, they took me under their wing, showed me how to do everything, and prepared me for what it was going to be like.
I'd say Bobby for sure, and then Matt Ellis as well, just being a catcher. He had experience of being a D1 before at Tennessee and then going JUCO and just knew about the whole process of how college baseball was and that it was a grind the whole time. And just seeing how hard he worked and motivating me to work just as hard, if not trying to work harder too.
So both you guys both brought up Matt. So this is his first year in Bloomington as well, right? So he was learning the town along with you guys?
Yeah.
All right. So just looking back into this season, obviously halfway through the season, heading into the second half, what are probably some of the biggest things you've learned from this year's coaching staff, just playing in your first collegiate baseball season?
And it's a long season. Just starting out the season with some tough opponents, some tough competition, and then just continuing the grind throughout the season and just knowing that at the end of the day, it's a long season. We're 35 games in, and we're just now into Big Ten play. So we still basically have a whole nother season ahead of us with the Big Ten schedule, and still can do whatever we want with our season.
The thing I learned the most was they really taught us there's a lot of ups and downs during the season, and kind of taught us the mental side and how to stay positive throughout the whole season and just keep your head up, keep grinding.
Yeah, I'm right along with Carter there. It's hard, and they preach that it's not easy to go out there and have success, especially when you're playing. Clemson, Stanford, Arkansas. Just top 25 teams in the country, week in and week out. And so it's hard. You're gonna get discouraged, but you just gotta pick yourself up and keep going.
Yeah. You guys played legit that first couple of weeks. Like you said, Arkansas. There's Clemson in there.
Yeah.
Who were some other? There were some other.
Stanford, Louisiana, Lafayette.
Yeah. That Round Rock Classic. That was four teams that were really good that you guys had to face off against. But let's move into the travel ball experience a little bit. Obviously, all three of you guys played for legit travel programs: Midwest Canes, Indiana Bulls, and Ohio
Elite.
Ohio Elite. There we go.
Yeah.
So did you guys ever play up against each other throughout just your high school seasons?
I played Brock at Ohio State.
Yeah. I think we've played each other all at some point, but just not really realized it. Yeah. And then looking back, we definitely play each other at some point somewhere.
Because all three of you guys have been to Atlanta for the WWE.
Oh, yeah.
I assume, right? So obviously you guys were all there that same weekend, being in the same class. What was the WWBA like for you guys? Just overall, what's that experience like? I know it's like a week-long tournament.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, scouts everywhere. It's just a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
I will say, as like a 16, 17-year-old, it is awesome just to go and see all the college scouts there and everything like that. Especially if you have a good game, or if you're uncommitted, going there and just seeing all the scouts and knowing that it just takes one weekend to be on people's radar. So.
Yeah. So how'd you guys get connected with each of you guys as head coaches for the programs? I know the Bulls and the Canes a little bit more just because that's where a lot of Indiana guys go. But how'd you get connected with the Ohio Elite? And then we'll just move on and talk about the Bulls and the Canes.
So I started out playing for my local travel team, the Mlb Travel team. And then it got to 13, 14 years old. It was the local travel team is not really gonna kind of get me to that next level because I always wanted to play college baseball. So it was who's gonna be able to, what program has more of a reputation along college coaches. So I tried out for Ohio Elite, made the team, and I played with them throughout the rest of high school.
Okay.
For me, so like him, I played for a local team until my 14U year, and then like he said, I kind of noticed, I was like, okay, I kind of have some potential here, this could be a possibility. So me and my dad kind of talked about it, we're we got to go down to Indy and get on a team that'll put me on the radar. So 15U I actually went to the Indiana Mustangs, and then 16U is when I moved to the Bulls, and that's where the recruiting process shot up.
Okay.
For me, I was for a local team here when I was 9 or 10, and I had a head coach that got a job with the Bulls the next year, and so I just followed him. And then I think 15U year, he got a job with the Midwest Canes, and so I followed him over there and just played for him.
So you guys never got the chance to play together on the Bulls then, right?
No, I was gone before he was there.
Okay. And then Luke Hayden, did he play for the Bulls or no?
Yeah, I played with him on the Bulls.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
And then he just switched somewhere else?
Yeah.
He played for a tournament or two with me, but he wasn't on the team permanently.
Yeah.
He just filled in.
So looking back at your guys' travel ball days, what are probably some of your favorite experiences, just looking back, being there's some good memories? What are some things that just at the top of your head when you're thinking your
Hotels.
favorite hotels?
Yeah, just being with the whole team in the hotel. My team would always play euchre, so we would have we would play for 2, 3, 4 hours just in the lobby every night, get noise complaints from the hotel. Almost got kicked out of a few hotels just from noise complaints, just having those memories in the hotel with the teammates.
I would say mine would be Florida Jupiter trip with Team Indiana. My fall year we did very well. I think we got top 8, and it was just, the team bonded very well, and it was a blast. It was definitely a memorable experience.
Yeah. I would say I'm with Brock there. the trips down to Nashville to play at like Vandy, you know, whenever you were like 15, 16, those were going down there and playing at a facility like that, and then just being downtown Nashville, you know, it was awesome.
Yeah. So obviously, all three of the programs you guys played for have guys that are either a couple years ahead of you, or a couple years behind you that are coming here to IU. So what are some of the pre-existing relationships you guys have with some of those guys? I know Carter, you got Andrew Wiggins coming 2023, Sam West, who's playing football, Braden Thomas from Fort Wayne, Brock, you got B-Row, you got McKay Whitaker, Ryan Miller playing football here. That's something that I came up across. And then Evan Goforth, I believe, right? Played with the Canes.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of you guys' like pre-existing relationships you guys have had with some of those guys that are just coming here next year or even already here on campus?
So B-Row, he was a year older, and so I didn't really, I actually didn't play with him very much or like against him very much. I just kind of knew him through other people, like through Ohio Elite, so I didn't really have too much contact with him before coming here. Just kind of when I committed, he reached out and we talked a little bit. And then McKay, I've just played against him a few times, so again, not too much like contact with him. So I really didn't have too much contact with guys before coming here through Ohio Elite, but
Yeah.
I played with Andrew Wiggins a few times, so I've been able to talk to him, and I kind of helped him through his recruiting process and tried to help him with IU and what I'd experienced. And then I've also played with Tyler Cerny quite a bit.
Okay.
So me and him, we know each other pretty well.
So Cerny plays in the Bulls program as well?
Yeah.
He does, okay.
So I knew Goforth and Luke. I knew Luke really well. I played with Luke a lot before I got here. So that was just that was like a more personal relationship. I knew Goforth at like a distant level because he played a year younger, and so I played against him a couple times. I talked to him a couple times, but and then I think the only other one in the class below me that I know is AJ Shepard.
Okay.
I played against him and talked to him a little bit at a couple tournaments when he was with the Canes National. So I think that's about all the.
So did you get the chance to play up against Luke in high school seasons?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what's it like facing Luke? What would be your scouting report on him?
Well, my scouting report on him would be, you just got to see his fastball down because whenever he spins it spins, it'll raise a little bit. And you got to hit the fastball because his slider's good.
Yeah.
And so if you get a fastball, you got to hit it. Yeah. You can't get down in the count because his slider's good.
So obviously, travel ball took up a lot of your guys' summers growing up. So this year, let's talk about what you guys are doing for this summer. So obviously, Collegiate Summer League, it shows your freshman year heading into your sophomore year. So who are you guys playing for, and how did you guys get connected with those certain teams?
I'm playing for the Danville Otterbots in Danville, Virginia for the Appalachian League, and I just got in contact through one of our coaches. Just kind of assigned me to the league, and then I think they had like a draft or something, and then head coach reached out to me afterward and said, "Hey, coming to Danville to play for us." And yeah.
Okay, so the coaches are the guys that pretty much set that up for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But who you be playing for?
I'll be playing for the Keene Swamp Bats in Keene, New Hampshire with the New England League, and Coach Simmons set that up for me.
Okay.
I'll be playing Johnson City Doughboys in Johnson City, Tennessee, Appalachian League, same league as Brock.
Okay. So you guys might be playing up against each other a couple times this year.
Yep.
Okay. Let's move it a little bit into the Mlb Draft. So last year, obviously, Carter, I know you got a little bit of interest for some teams. So let's just talk about that process a little bit. What was the conversations like with teams? Just what went on from the end of your high school season all the way up until the draft before you realized you were coming here to IU?
Yeah, our conversations were, they kind of just wanted to know me as a person, and then they would talk about what they liked about me, what they saw in the future, kind of get my my thoughts about money and stuff like that, to try to figure me out, so stuff like that.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about a draft advisor as well. Obviously, I told you guys I'm trying to be an agent when I get older, so I'd like to hear just the player side of things on a couple things. So, when did our advisors start reaching out to you, and what was the reason you chose your certain advisor?
That advisor started reaching out to me beginning of my senior high school year, and then I chose John Fermaniac because one of the big things with advisors is they work for you, and there's a few advisors out there that they're in it for themselves, and they'll try to get players just so they can get money. So a big thing with me was making sure that advisor knew he was working for me, and John did a great job of that. He really wanted to. He didn't persuade me in any way. He listened to my ideas, and he listened to what I wanted, and he kind of helped propose that to other teams. So he helped a lot.
Yeah, I follow Josh on Instagram. I see his story a little bit, so I like him. Well, I've never met him, but I like just overall from what I see. And then for Josh, I know you said some advisors have reached out to you. So what for advisors that do reach out? Like, what's kind of like, what do they say? Is it like through text? How exactly does that go?
Well, Coach Mercer helps me in this area a little bit. He kind of has my back and will give my phone number out to guys that he thinks can help. And so I've had a few reach out in the last couple of weeks and just kind of text and say, hey, I want to catch up and get to know you a little bit. And I'm just taking it slow since we're mid-season right now. I'm just trying to focus on the season right now, and I'll probably go about that a little bit more once the season ends. But right now, I'm just kind of taking it slow, and I mean, I'm talking to a couple guys, but I'm not committing to anything right now.
Of course. I mean, you guys are still mid-season through your freshman year, so it's nothing to worry about. I'm just curious, like how they reach out, like what exactly what the positive things for you guys are.
Yeah.
So let's move on let's move away from the baseball field a little bit. Let's talk about some passions. So when you guys are not playing baseball, what do you guys like to do?
Hunt and fish.
Hunt and fish.
Yep.
Okay.
I love to fish, and then I love the lake.
Lake?
Just any body of water.
Okay.
I like fishing a lot, and then I like spending time on boats, tubing, stuff like that.
Yeah. So usually when you guys are fishing, hunting, what are you guys fishing for? I grew up on a farm, but I have no clue about hunting, no clue about fishing, anything. So, but what do you guys like to fish? What do you guys like to hunt?
I'm a big bass fisherman. I don't like the saltwater fish. I'm just a big bass fisherman, mostly largemouth. But I hunt. I'm a big coyote hunter. I love coyote hunting. I deer hunt quite a bit, and turkey hunting is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I love to turkey hunt, but I'd say I coyote hunt more than anything.
Okay. So what's the difference between each one of those? I know coyote hunting, like I know people like lay in a field and
So like coyote hunting, I'll go out at night, and so I'll take the night vision. I put a night vision scope on one of my guns, and I'll go out there and I'll put an electronic game call out, and I'll go through different sequences, and I'll see some eyes and start running in. And so that's that. Deer hunting, I just sit in a deer stand and wait for a deer to walk by. I'll scout some certain areas and see try to pattern them. But turkey hunting, I mean, and you go out in the morning, they're in the roost, and you got to sneak up on them, let them fly down out of the tree. Yeah, and you got to call to them before hen gets there. So I mean, it's a blast. I just love it.
Yeah. So is there like different strategy you got to use for each animal?
Yep. Every type of hunting is a little bit different, because deer and turkey aren't the same. They move differently. They pattern differently throughout the night, throughout the day, and so you kind of got to research hunting. There's a lot more that goes into hunting than people understand. And so
I know. My buddy. I'm from a small town. All my buddies, I know they're always like looking into different stuff hunting wise. So I just wasn't 100% sure. What exactly goes.
You got to pattern all the animals. So it's awesome though.
Yeah. So what about for fishing? When you guys are fishing, is there a certain fish you're trying to get, or are you just going out there to see?
I just go for largemouth bass.
Okay. Largemouth, are they pretty big size, or?
A good.
Don't lie.
A good fish is 4 or 6 pounds. A good fish.
Okay. And those
at average like.
Okay. And you guys can eat those, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can.
So do you guys do you guys ever eat your own stuff that you guys hunt down, fish down?
I'll eat crappie when I catch crappie.
Yeah, crappie's
crappie's really good.
That's the type of fish?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're gonna eat a fish here, you definitely eat crappie.
Crappie.
So good.
Okay.
Or
Perch
bluegill.
too.
Bluegill's good.
Perch is really good.
Okay. So what do you guys got to do to the fish to make sure it's edible from the lake?
You got it. Skin it. Take off.
You gotta fillet it.
Yeah. Fillet it. Just get the meat out of it.
Yeah.
Bread it up. Throw it in oil. Throw it in some oil.
I've walked into a couple of my buddies like garages, and they've got the whole setup there, and I'm like, that's like I love to go shoot some guns. I'll go fishing, but I'm not in touch the raw fish. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brock, do you eat the fish that you?
I have not. No.
No.
I only have before, like after like deep sea fishing or something like that, like a marlin or sharks before, but nothing just like bass or anything.
So you've been deep sea fishing?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's that like? Going to is it Miami? Probably go to deep sea fish.
Out of Mexico.
Mexico.
I have it out of Mexico as well, and then Hilton Head. I've gone there too.
Okay, we're
I
still
did St. Augustine too.
okay.
Florida.
Okay, so I take that's a little. Is that a little bit more fun than fishing here in some of the smaller
It
lakes?
is, yeah, because you see really.
It's an hour-long
It definitely
fight.
is.
It's
Hour-long fight. So like when you hook that thing,
Oh, yeah.
you're reeling for a while.
really.
Yeah.
Really?
And then
Okay.
just to see like the size of the fish that are out in the sea it's really
And just being
cool
on
to
the
see.
ocean all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys usually keep those marlins, the bigger fish that you keep?
Yeah.
Do you eat those, or you guys hang those up on the wall?
Eat 'em.
Usually they'll have like restaurants by the dock and marinas, and you can just bring your fish there, and
Yeah.
they'll cook it up for you.
Okay.
At least that's what has
Yeah.
happened
Yeah.
in my experience.
So here in Bloomington, have you guys gotten the chance to go fishing or hunting here, or are you guys mostly just focused on classes and just baseball?
Well, since I live so close, I mean, when deer season came around, I'd bust home after practice ended and go get in the deer stand. And on the weekends during the fall, I'd get a couple buddies to go coyote hunt at night. And I mean, I fished Lake Monroe quite a few times growing up with my grandpa. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar, and I hunt a lot during the season now, as much as I can.
Yeah. So do you guys like shooting guns? Do you guys ever go to a gun range, or do you guys just kind of focus on hunting animals with the guns?
I'll do like the clay pigeons and just shoot on land, but I haven't hunted a whole lot.
Okay. All right.
I haven't hunted before either, but
No. So you said you're from Columbus,
Yeah.
right? So you're close to Ohio State.
yep.
So what's that Ohio State campus like compared to IU?
Ohio State's a lot more city-like, just because it's down in like downtown Columbus, so it's a lot more of a city feel. I mean, there's obviously the portion that's kind of sectioned off for the campus, but I mean, just being in downtown Columbus, it's bigger buildings, just more of an urban feel than Bloomington is.
Yeah. Have you guys ever got the chance to step on some other campuses?
Yeah, I've
I've been to Michigan. I've been to Michigan State football game, or Michigan football game. Wisconsin football game. My dad actually went to Wisconsin,
Okay.
so he's always been a fan of that.
Yeah.
Fan
You know
of
Joe
them.
Tittman going
Yeah.
to Wisconsin?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, he's a cool guy. But I've been to Ann Arbor once, but I don't remember it very much. But let's talk about some NIL stuff. So obviously baseball NIL isn't as popular as what you would say for women's basketball, then football obviously being number one. So with those new NIL regulations being passed, have you guys gotten a shot to possibly work with a couple businesses or even make a little bit of money off of your name, image, and likeness?
I haven't even really thought about it. I haven't had anyone reach out, and I haven't reached out to anybody. That's honestly something that I've never thought about.
Yeah.
We just don't get a whole lot
Yeah.
of attention. I've had
Yeah.
a few companies reach out. I've done one deal, which was just an Instagram post. I got a little bit of money, but other than that, not a whole lot.
Yeah. What business was it?
Go Puff.
Go Puff, okay,
Yeah, grocery,
okay, all right.
grocery delivery.
All right. What about you, Brock?
Same thing. It's just baseball isn't as big of a kind of market for NIL
Yeah.
as like football is. So it's just not really kind of on our radar.
With me trying to be an MLB PA certified agent here 2 or 3 years down the road, obviously NIL is something that I've looked into. Obviously SEC baseball gets a little bit more than Big Ten, but it's still nowhere close to football, basketball, stuff like that. People just, for some reason, don't have the interest.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why I'm trying to be an agent. I change the marketing of baseball.
Yeah.
So if you guys, so let's say down the road you guys do work with some NIL stuff, probably who would be a dream brand that you guys would want to work with?
I think this is kind of a weird one, but I'd say Lululemon,
Okay.
just because it's really different from whatever anyone else has really done, and I mean Lululemon clothes are really comfortable
Yeah,
and fun
of course.
and awesome to wear. But
Yeah.
I think that would be a fun brand to work with.
Oh, I don't know. I would have to go. I think Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop would be
Okay.
cool to work with.
Yeah.
Or like one that's out there would be like Ski Nautique, the boats.
Okay.
I think that'd be a blast to work with.
Yeah.
Actually, I forgot. I did reach out to one company, and it was a long shot. I sent John B. for Group Mates a message on Instagram because that's my favorite fishing group. But that would 100% be my favorite company to work with.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a YouTuber and everything, and I watch all his videos. But I reached out kind of as a joke, just seeing if he would read it, but he didn't. But yeah, Kuchen Baits would be the company I believe.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to Let's move back onto some on the field stuff to end it off. But first off, Carter, gotta look up Old Fort Baseball. They work with Hayden Jones, with a couple guys, the Summit City Sluggers. You're familiar with them. But after this, you gotta look them up. They good company in Fort Wayne. But let's move on to on the field stuff to end it off. So if you guys had to do a scouting report on yourselves, what would it be? What would probably be like your biggest strengths, your biggest weaknesses?
I know what yours is.
Let's see. I mean, I'd say a strength of mine would just be like hitting fastballs. I just go up to the plate looking for a fastball to hit. And if I get one, I tend to hit it pretty well. I'd just say a weakness of mine would be sometimes getting a little too anxious at the plate and just underestimating myself at the plate, and then sometimes not always trusting myself at the plate. So I'd say just getting a little too anxious sometimes.
Yeah. There was one game I was at, Coach Mercer called time when you were in the batter's box. Was that something to do with that, or is there something else going on there?
What was that?
It was a Northwestern game. It was like the Big Ten opener.
That was just kind of getting me back to my approach and just kind of not trying to do too much at the plate.
Okay.
Just kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what exactly was going on there, but Carter?
I'd say a strength of mine would be power. I have a little bit of power. And then a weakness would probably be keeping the ball low, going oppo. So hitting low oppo ground balls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That worked yesterday.
Yeah, that was left center, right?
Yeah.
That was a deep shot. But
I'd say like at the plate, my weakness or my strength would probably be middle end fastballs. And my weakness is definitely like sliders low and out in the zone. Just watching them for balls instead of chasing out of the zone.
yeah. So
That's my weakness.
So what would probably be the biggest thing you guys are wanting to fix your next couple years here? Now, obviously, you guys are freshmen, so you guys got at least a couple more years. What's probably the biggest thing you want to fix?
I would say for me, plate discipline. Just kind of taking that next step and truly staying to a good approach and just kind of taking what I've learned over this past year and kind of expanding on that and continue to improve on that.
Okay.
For me, I would say hitting the ball to all parts of the field more often and not getting too happy with one certain part.
I would say for me, probably to hit off speed better, harder. You know, the coaches preach like hit strikes hard. Like that's what the coaches preach, and we really focus on hitting fastballs hard. But once you kind of start to get that down, you got to move into the off speed. So I think I want to improve on hitting the off speed, you know, up the middle, 95 plus.
Yeah. So who would probably be the hardest pitchers you guys have faced this year? Just looking back into who you guys have played Big Ten, obviously going to play Arkansas, Clemson, so those teams.
Hardest pitchers?
Who would be the hardest pitchers you guys faced, just the hardest guys to see out of the hand?
For me, it was Arkansas starter, Connor Nolan.
Connor's
his name.
Connor Nolan. He's a guy I'm trying to get on the podcast now. One of his best friends in Fayetteville. I know pretty well, so I'm trying to get him on. He's a good pitcher.
Yeah, he was probably one of the toughest guys I've faced this year. He had a really good off speed that was it was really tough to face him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Clemson's Friday guy. He was legit. He had a hard fastball, good slider. Definitely a powerful arm to open up my college career.
Yeah.
I would say for me that the guy that was hardest to face and see the ball was Northwestern's Friday lefty. Man, he didn't overpower, but man, I couldn't hit him.
Yeah.
His ball just moved.
That Friday game, he had a good start. When he got out, you guys pounced on the relievers, right?
Yeah.
Won.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So I got one last question for you guys before we end off the podcast. So what should fans be expecting here in the second half of the season?
More wins.
More
wins.
They're going to see more competitive at bats, more competitive pitching staff, which is going to result in us winning more games. They're just gonna see. I feel like after yesterday's game and the heart that went into it, and going into this weekend, they're gonna see a lot of heart left on the field, and we're ready to compete. I mean, we're ready to go out and make a run in the Big Ten.
Awesome.
I'd say a resilient team, just one that's not willing to quit and won't quit and will just compete to the end and give it the rest every time out on the field.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for the JKR Podcast. I thank you guys for coming on the show. Looking forward to watching you guys these next couple years here in Bloomington. Follow you guys there from there on out. So just appreciate you guys coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yep. And then I got those shirts for you guys. Josh, I'll get you your shirt here in a couple weeks.
Alrighty.
And then we'll get a picture real quick. That way I can post it on.